Good morning. It's December 30th in Palmer, Alaska. It's about 9 a.m. If you can see right there, the sun is thinking about starting to rise. And today my family is taking off on a family tradition that we've developed, and that is going to visit a public use cabin every New Year's. We started this tradition about 5 years ago. I've always had some weird feelings about the New Year's holiday that I won't go into this segment, but I thought I'd show you what kind of food we pack, what kind of clothing we bring, and maybe some general other packing items. I grew up in Alaska, and my whole childhood I really enjoyed the outdoors, but I was always intimidated on where to start, how to, what kind of gear do I need. It wasn't until I met my husband and in my pursuit of impressing him did I start to go camping and backpacking. And the state of Alaska has a great benefit, which is public use cabins throughout the state. Today we're going up to Denali State Park, and we're going to stay at a cabin in Kasugi-Ken. It is during the summer months a campground, but they have 3 cabins that are available to rent there. They are dry cabins in the sense that there is no electricity, no water, no heat. You are expected to provide everything on your own. However, for the state parks cabins, I would say these are kind of like the creme de la creme. They are quite popular. You have to book them basically as soon as the booking window comes available. As I'm recording this, I can't remember if it's 6 or 7 months ago that I booked this. That's the booking window, but basically you have to decide this is when I want to go and basically set a calendar reminder to get on the internet and book it right away because these cabins go fast. They are quite popular. The great thing about going to a public use cabin, especially one that is pretty accessible like this one, is you don't have to spend a lot of money on freeze-dried food, anything of that nature. When we go to these cabins or camping in the summer, I really like to do a good inventory of what we already have in our pantry. It's really easy to spend a lot of money on groceries for camping, something that should be considered, a inexpensive way to travel as a family. But one trip to the grocery store for a camping trip can get pretty expensive. So I'm going to go over the food that I'm bringing and then also show you the clothes that I'm packing. My husband's getting our gear ready to go out in the garage, so I'll show you that when we get to the cabin, kind of what the kitchen setup looks like, what other equipment we bring. The beauty of going in the winter, we actually prefer to go in the winter, is because you can utilize a sled to pull your items in versus backpacking in the summer. We still enjoy doing that, but you have to be more mindful about how much you're bringing with you. Whereas in the winter, you can be kind of lax on what you bring because you can just do multiple sled runs with it. All right, so I'll be right back, okay? Okay, so when I'm going on either a camping trip or to a public use cabin, I really try to be mindful of the food that we're packing, not to overpack. Well, I say that with a disclaimer because you're going to see here, we are bringing a lot of food for a family of 3. I would always prefer to bring a little extra and not have to use it versus running out of food. However, what I'm going to show you is I really like to make sure I'm mindful of how much of a serving size I'm bringing. And I also like to prepare meals that has multiple purposes. So to start off, for dinner tonight, we're gonna do pork carnitas. I went ahead and cooked this ahead of time, so that way I'm not cooking pork, this big meal while I'm out there, because we're gonna have just a basic Coleman stove. But this pork carnitas, we're a family of 3. We're not gonna eat this all in one sitting, so we can have this also for lunch or snacks the next day. I always bring with us some tortillas because all else fails. You have a picky kid, you can always make a quesadilla. And then I'm mindful to portion off really truly what I'm going to need for the trip. So that way we're not hauling a bunch of excess out there. Got some jalapenos, Trader Joe's green chili, the dragon sauce, some taco sauce. I literally emptied out the bottom of a jar to get this. So it's a great way to clean out your pantry, some shredded cheese, and getting back to, yes, using what you have on hand. Let's use that sour cream up. There are obviously going to be things that you're going to buy fresh. Got some cilantro to go with. We always bring with us some sort of ramen. These tonkatsus from Costco are great. They're already in their packaging. Really easy to heat up just with boiled water. We also always make sure we have plenty of snacks with us because inevitably you eat a lot when you're there. And I just kind of went through our pantry to see what we already had on hand. We have some leftover treats from Christmas. These Costco s'mores are amazing. Just always seem to have them in our closet. I couldn't help myself. Our Costco in Anchorage lately does not seem to be carrying the late July tortilla chips, and I always want them, so when I see them, I have to buy a bag. And they had this with it, so I've never tried it, but we'll go ahead and give it a go. Also, kind of to piggyback on those tortillas that I purchased, you can always make a breakfast burrito. We're going to bring some eggs. Every Christmas, I buy too many Little Smokies because I have some grandiose idea of the many ways I'm going to use them, and then I end up with a lot left over, so we're going to bring those up there as well. We also kind of are creatures of habit sometimes with the meals that we eat. We really like using these Zatarain's because you don't want to be packing a lot of spices with you, a lot of flavoring. What's great about these is everything's already in there. You just have to add the meat. We had this andouille sausage that needs to get eaten. And I went ahead and cut the Holy Trinity. We got some green peppers, some celery, and some onion. The recipe doesn't call for it, but I'm going to go ahead and add that. These two, if you are doing a backpacking trip, are great. Those freeze-dried backpacking meals can get really expensive, and you can just take those out of the box, make them in a pot. You don't need to spend a lot of money on those freeze-dried meals. Same like if it's breakfast, packets of oatmeal versus those freeze-dried eggs. Buy them if you want, but you can really save some money. Also, another thing I portioned off, there's no need to pack a whole thing of coffee creamer all the way into the wilderness with you. It's just excessive. And then we're also bringing some other drinks, just an assortment. We normally try not to pack glass, but it is New Year's Eve, so we're going to just do some celebrating and have some fun beverages. Like I said, we're not as cognizant about the weight that we're bringing with us because we're going to be able to pull it all on a sled. Obviously, we're going to bring more water than this, but you always want to make sure you have a water bottle to refill as you need. I also went ahead and just included some basic items. Obviously, this is not going to be our whole camp kitchen. Like I said, my husband's packing that up outside. We usually don't use paper plates, but it's Christmas time. We have a bunch of these left over, and we're going to go ahead and use them up. And actually, you can just burn them in the fire, so you limit your trash that way. Also, like I said, these are dry cabins, so you have to haul out what you bring in. So make sure you bring garbage bags and paper towels as well to clean up after yourself. I purchased these silverware sets a few years ago from Target. They really have what you need, and you can just rewash them while you're up there. Also, because I pre-cut so much, these are just the basic utensils that I'm bringing with us today. No need to schlep a whole kitchen with you. Just bring what you need. Also, I always bring Reynolds wrap. You never know when you're going to need some tinfoil. Inevitable up there. I always want to make sure I have some on hand because I'm going to use it. I always put a lighter in our food. Usually we have multiple lighters with us, but I never want to get in a situation where we don't have a lighter and we're looking for a way to make fire. So just store one in there. Also, I just included some little odds and ends. I always bring a book. We got some, what's this game called? The Atomic Kitten. I can't remember. My son just got it for Christmas, as well as a deck of playing cards, as well as, we're obviously going to bring more light than this, but make sure you have ample light source, especially in Alaska. It gets dark quick. Like I said, the sun's not even up. We're going to have a lot more than that, but I just threw it in the video as a reminder. When you get up to those cabins, you're not going to be able to flip a light on, so make sure you have ample light supply. Obviously, that's not an issue in the summer in Alaska, but if you're going in the winter, be mindful of that. Okay, so really quickly, I'm just going to go over what we pack for a winter trip. Don't mind the bags in the back. That's more stuff that's going to go with us. But what we have here is my snow pants. I'm actually going to wear a warmer jacket when we get up there, but I always like to pack a lighter jacket just in case the weather fluctuates, or it's nice to wear inside. Where we're going today, it's going to be in the teens. That might sound jarring to some people, but for us, it's actually kind of ideal. It makes things nice and clear. Maybe we'll see the aurora if we're lucky. But I also have another flannel, some t-shirts, kind of some polypro, some more leggings, because what I'll do a lot is wear leggings underneath my snow pants, pajamas. And then when it comes to winter gear, this might seem excessive to some, but I pack 2 different weights of gloves. These ones are really light. These ones have more insulation, and you might get where if the weather drops, you might want a warmer pair of gloves. Hat, of course, and then some wool socks. And then I said this wasn't a backpacking trip. However, when you're doing that first initial load out to the cabin, it is nice to put everything in a backpack so you're carrying loads on your back, as well as carrying things in the sled. So this is kind of just a brief overview of what I'm packing. You can obviously pack more, pack less. My husband and I, we tend to keep the cabin a little chillier. You can definitely burn as much firewood as you want. Just remember, you're going to have to haul it in there. But we'll keep the cabin a little lower and aren't opposed to just throwing on some layers. And also, can't forget the sunglasses. Even though it's dark out and it's winter in Alaska, that sun gets really bright. All right, well, I'll see you up at the cabin. Thanks so much for watching.